Alright guys, here we are with our big pot. Got our Dawn. Put a little bit in there. My hose water is actually hot right now. I say hot, it's warm, so we're just going to use this. Generally, I would take hot water from the sink. Actually, there it went, it's cold now. But I would take some hot water from the sink. Bring it out. Probably going to stop putting, but that's it. Get some hot water. We'll fill it up probably about to that oil line right there that says I think 16-pound turkey. We're going to put it there to that oil line roughly. Really depends on how deep your skull is going to sit in there, and can how deep it's going to sit in there. Let's go ahead and get it and see. This one potentially could sit all the way down there, and we don't want it to do that. We're going to sit it on a piece of wood, probably our piece of plywood here. You essentially want the skull to sit so that the back of the head is submerged. So we want the water line, so we're going to go higher than that 16 mark. We want the water line to sit here so that it's kind of just at the base of the antlers. So let's go get the rest of the water. Wanted to show y'all just at the base of the antlers. That's really where I want the water. You can kind of see the skull right there. It's not very far. I can touch it. But you want all of it under the water. And as soon as this comes to a rolling boil, I might let it roll for just a few minutes, but I don't want it to overflow, which it's probably going to, because you take your eyes off of this stuff for just a minute and it tends to overflow. But I'm just using a Browning double, camp stove is what this is. You can use a turkey roaster type, cooker as well. Some people I've seen do it in the house. But that's what I'm doing. We'll show you when it starts to boil a little bit. But I used some hot water from the sink, the hot water from the water hose, the last of it, and we'll be back. It finally came to kind of that simmer boil that I'm looking for, or low boil. Trying not to get it to a rolling, well, we want it to come to a rolling boil, but you're going to want to turn it down, or else all your bubbles are going to bubble over, which isn't the end of the world, but it'll cool your fire down or put your fire out if you ain't paying attention. So we just kind of want it to bump like that, just a nice little bump of a boil, a couple bubbles at a time. We don't want it to just be, turning and turning, just enough that it's going to cook the meat, cook the brain, cook the other stuff, so we can get all of that off of it or out of it. This here, if I just let it go, it's going to end up, the bubbles will keep going, but that's about what we want it to do for 2 hours. We'll pull the skull, we'll check it out, and then potentially spray it off or pressure wash it off, and start with fresh clean water, because that will help it, it'll help keep the skull cleaner. Sometimes I'll just boil it one time. I don't have to do it twice. It really depends on the age of the deer and how long it sat or how long it was frozen for, stuff like that. But this here is starting to roll, so I'm going to turn it down just a little bit, because if you don't, it will overflow all of your bubbles. You can see it. You can see it rising. We want to try to keep it at that medium mark so that it doesn't overflow. There we go. We'll keep messing with this a little bit until we get it just right. And then we're going to let this go for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and we'll check back on it. So, and then when I get the pressure washer out, we'll try that out too. Had to buy a new pressure washer. We'll see how it works. Alright guys, here we are. We're back. Kind of got it just started to get to that roll. Or slow rolling boil. You don't want it to be rolling because you have a lot of cartilage in there. And that cartilage, you'll start losing your tips of your nose, just different parts of the nose cavity, it will fall off. You don't want that. So we just want it to just nice and simmer with a light roll for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Check on it. I typically will do this between 2 to 4 hours, depending on how old and how well the stuff comes off and how well I can maintain this based off of the wind blowing, because sometimes the wind will put my fire out and I don't even notice it if I go inside for a few. So just let it boil kind of like that, not really hard. Nice little simmer or a low boil, low to medium heat is what mine's on. No matter what, you want to keep that water above that skull cap right there. If you can see it in there, we want to keep water. So I have a pot full of water here, or your water hose, but your water hose will cool it down. That's hot water from inside my sink. We'll add a little bit of that here in a little bit as this keeps on boiling. Alright everyone, here we go. We're going to pull it out and take it over to our pressure washing area. Excuse the mess around here, but there it is. You can see in the eyeballs, they're clean. A lot of extra meat on that side. But we're going to get over here. Bought a new pressure washer today. And I don't think it's going to be quite enough. But we'll see. I think it'll get what we need done. This is my new trash bag for any extra stuff. Some of it will end up throwing out in the woods here. There's a cat that lives here, and a wild cat, not wild, but a big domestic. Let's go ahead and sharpen this up real quick. Oh yeah, that had a little, that needed to run through there. So the first thing that I do is I'll try to come here and get some of this off before I put it on that pressure washer. I'll just pick out some of this, and you can see underneath there, that's what that blade right there is good for, getting that stuff from underneath those antlers. It's gonna get dark on us quick, so I'll kind of give y'all the quick, but yeah, that's what we're gonna do, is try to get that off. One thing that I will caution you all, here at the front of this deer skull, you have the nasal cavity front bones here. Those bones are the cartilage that's in here. If you boil it too hard, which I might have got a little too hard on this at some time, but this here, you don't want to boil it so hard that all that cartilage burns up out of there. So hopefully it's good, and not just there, but even this piece here, this whole piece right here, all this cartilage that runs down this side, and holds this nose piece in. You want to try not to boil it hard enough that those pieces don't come out. Now, if they do, it's not the end of the world. You can always glue them back in, but it's definitely, sometimes it'll boil out in the pot. This stuff here I'm going to throw out here. Like I said, that cat will come and eat that. I don't know whose cat it is. We live out here kind of in the sticks. My neighbor I know has a handful of cats, but don't know if they're all his, or if that one's his or not. But with him having a lot of cats, it's a big tomcat that's been running around here, probably impregnating his. But You want to be careful when you're pressure washing it, especially for that nose piece as well. We're going to go in the front of it. This stuff here should come off a little easier than it was because it's all soft. Cut off some of this. The other piece we're going to do, while we still have some light, the brain is in there. There's also these earbuds is what they call it. Most people call it. The earbuds are in the ear canal, and you want to pull those out if you can. Here's where this comes into play too. But let's see if we can't get, typically I'll use a screwdriver to put in here. You can break those ear canal pieces out, or earbuds if you will. And what I just pulled out wasn't really the earbud. You could kind of hear it cracking in there. The earbud is this piece right here. It's not really, I don't know what it's made out of, but it's like bone, but it's not quite as, it's easier to break than bone. And typically I'll take a screwdriver, and there you go. I'll just pop that out. Or pop it in, I guess. The brain we're gonna kind of break up with the screwdriver. Clean it in the dirt. We're gonna go ahead and try to get this side out if we can. And once we break this one out and get all this, we're gonna put it down there on that pallet and take that pressure washer to it and see what we can do. Get all this meat and stuff off of it. That cat will have himself a feast tonight. Where's that other blade? Let's see here. Alright, let's try to break this one out. So you can see it in there. I would also not recommend doing this right next to your house because you could have some stinky stuff on the ground. Especially if you got animals. I try to keep it away from where my dogs will get to. They got collars on them. So, alright, let's bust out this earbud here. Which is right here again. There it went. So now, you can also reach into the back of this cavity, this brain cavity, and you can pull out some of this stuff sometimes, like the earbuds and things. The brain is going to be all soft and mushy, so we're not going to be able to pick out some of that normally. So we're going to go ahead and put this down here and try to pressure wash it off, and you'll see how it works before we get too dark. All this stuff is going to come out. There we go. This here goes into where the nerves run into the back of the teeth. You want to try to get all that out if you can. The stuff at the front of the mouth, or the roof of the mouth. That stuff too. think I'll be alright pressure washing this once. Here we go. And this cartilage and stuff, I'm going to try to pull it out with the pliers or with the forceps. Grab hold of it and work it. Try to work all of that out of there the best you can. You won't be able to get most of that with the pressure washer. You're going to have to reach in there and break it and pull it and peel it. But let's go ahead and pressure wash this down so y'all can see that it is going to be gross. So some people will say get some different clothes on, stuff like that. But get that stuff off from around the teeth. It's going to get loud. Get that stuff from around the teeth. Also, one key factor is you don't want to directly spray the antlers, at least close. If you want to spray the antlers, you want to be back a good ways, you know, or else you're going to change the color of the antlers. So stay away from the antlers if you can help it. And as for that brain cavity, I'll try to go in through the earbud here. Through the eye socket. To try to get all that brain out of there. Those earbuds will also help break up that brain a little bit. If you go up under the antlers, be careful, it'll spray you back in the face. Now I'm going to try to get, and when I'm moving it around, you also want to be careful of these two pieces right here. Those are part of that bone, that nose structure that will come out, so be careful there. We're going to try to go through the back of the brain cavity there to help clean out that stuff. There's an old skull that my son cut the antlers off of. All right, we'll switch it around again. Another thing you'll lose if you boil out it too hard, you'll lose the teeth in there as well. So all right, that's those earbuds. The brain cavity is almost clear. right, so let's take it back to the table. And we're going to do a little bit more finessing to it. Oh, there's one of the earbuds that just fell out. The other one, I guess, rattled out when we were spraying in there. If you can see, I don't know if y'all can see in that cavity there, but you want it to look clean just like that. Don't think there's anything else in there. The next big thing you got to try to get out is all the nasal cavity, and there's a little bit of work to do. Just a little bit of work to do in the nose and the nasal cavity, and then the back of this brain, or the back of the skull. A little bit of work to do up here. And part of that is just using, you're going to pull out. Now some people use beetles or something called maceration, but all of that stuff right there would come out. And you don't have to do it this way, but some people want, hope y'all can see it, these pieces left in there, and they consider it museum quality. The same with the earbuds. They don't want to pop those out, but to me, I'm not trying to make museum quality. I'm just trying to put something on the, you know, something to save for this occasion. And I'm going to pop all of this out if I can't get all of this to come out, which this deer actually was really easy to do because there were no flies and anything in there, which maybe the flies have all been birthed and they don't have them. They're not laying right now. So what happens while the deer are sleeping or sitting, the flies, I forget what they're called, bot flies or some type of fly, will come and lay their larvae in the deer's nose. And these larvae will live there until they, you know, become big enough to fly out, or I guess, I don't know, grow through its stages. It's actually pretty weird. I've had them, they've had 40 of those flies in them. There we go. Mosquitoes are starting to come out. But just work diligently at it, trying to get all the meat off of it, because again, you don't want it to smell in your house. I will tell you, probably for the first week after you hang it or let it dry, and there's a couple other processes that we do with this. One of those is we're going to whiten it, which we'll probably show you that too. But you want to get all this out so it doesn't smell as bad, because we're going to wet this skull again when we rinse it off from the whitening process, or whitening process, which we're going to use a peroxide developer to whiten it. But for the most part, guys, that's it. That's the deer that I harvested this year so far. Hopefully I get one or two more. We'll see. We'll be back with another video on the whitening process here in a couple days, or once this thing dries out. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.